I'm Chelsea.
And I'm Tony Northrop.
And today we're going to be talking about some news. We're going to do your photo reviews as per usual, and we're also going to be talking about some new gear that we got. So Tony, why don't you show them the gear that you have?
We have lots of new gear, and most of this is just loaner equipment. But I think the most interesting piece we have here is a new mirrorless camera. And this is going into the buying guide because right now, we don't have a lot of detailed information about mirrorless cameras in the buying guide. It's mostly conceptual and higher level. So we're going to get really specific into the different product lines. And I'm starting at the top end here. This is a Leica monochrome M, and the body here runs you about $8,000. The lens runs you about $2,000. So you're looking at $10,000 in camera equipment here. Certainly per pound, the most you can spend on a camera, I think. But what makes this camera interesting is it's like a film camera that they converted to digital. It's really difficult to compare this to a modern DSLR. It wouldn't fare well at all. It has no autofocus whatsoever. The viewfinder is just strange because it has a split prism focusing system, which is good if you're doing
like an
manual
old-fashioned
focus.
Camera.
Yeah, like a camera from the 50s, and we shoot a lot of film, which is why I requested it from them. It's also a black and white only camera. As far as I know, it's the only digital camera that is only black and white.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have the Bayer filter on it. There's no red, blue, green. It's not converting it. It captures it in black and white.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool camera. We had fun with it, and we brought in a Leica enthusiast, and he did a review of it with us, and he loved it. He wanted one, and if it weren't $10,000 or $8,000 for the body, he said he would have gotten it. So that review will be out next week.
And be sure to subscribe.
Yeah, so subscribe if you want to see that. What is this that you have here?
This is, you should know because you got it for me for Christmas. This is the Constructor. It's a build your own SLR kit, and this is a film camera. They only run you about $35, but you literally put it together. It's little bits of plastic like a airplane model. It comes with its own screwdriver, and when you have it done, you can take actual pictures with them and get them developed. I think it's a fantastic way to learn how your camera works because you're literally piecing everything together, the mirror, the optics, everything. So that will be a lot of fun for me. I should be able to do that in the next week or so. I'm looking forward to it. I haven't built something out of plastic in a long time.
Yeah, that will keep you busy, so that's what was behind this gift.
Keeping me busy.
Yeah.
We got a Nikon body in. This is the new Nikon D3200. This is Nikon's entry-level camera. We're going to be doing a full review of it and how it compares to the other Nikon cameras, as well as how it compares to the Canon entry-level models like the T5i. Even more gear. This is a loaner from our marketing person, Samantha, the Camranger. What this does is you can plug it into the USB port on your camera.
This was cool.
Yeah, and it lets you view what's going on in your camera wirelessly from your smartphone or tablet, and you can take pictures and change your aperture and shutter speed and everything. So basically you can remotely control and view your camera from wherever you are. And there are other solutions for that too, like iFi does some of that, and the 70D, the Canon 70D and the Canon 6D will do that. So we're going to do a full review. We're going to compare the Camranger versus the built-in solutions and iFi, all at different price points. Even more gear.
Oh yeah, look at this bad boy. Ugh.
Chelsea is straining under the weight of the Profoto D1. I think that's a 500 model. No, that's the 1000 Air. So
D1 1000 Air.
yeah, this bad boy is like $1,700, I think.
They sent this to us?
Yeah, it's a loaner. We're gonna have to send it
irresponsible.
back. You shouldn't be holding it. You'll probably break it. You can control the Profoto system with these little remotes. They have a USB receiver that goes into your computer so that you can control it from your PC using software, which is a very cool system. Now, if you subscribe to our channel, you saw our flash trigger review recently. I compared the Yongno system and the Photox Odin and the Pocket Wizard along with the Paul C. Buff Cyber Commander. So this is a direct competitor to the Cyber Commander. So we'll be comparing it to the Cyber Commander as well as the Elenchrom system, which we're getting in soon.
I keep stealing all this stuff from you because I haven't seen it before, so I'm excited. Yeah. And I really like the Cyber Commander, so I'd like to see how this goes up against it. Already it looks a bit more simple, right?
Yeah, it's got buttons instead of like a full color LCD display. It also costs a whole lot more.
Oh, it does. It costs more. Okay.
Yeah, that remote is $400,
Wow.
whereas the Cyber Commander will run you like $190. So it's more than twice as much. And the lights are way more too, but they're higher end. Like you can tell this by feeling.
Yes,
They feel
wow.
better than the Policy Buff stuff. We'll see if they actually work any better. This is the
More.
YN-E3-RT. This is another wireless trigger system. There are just a whole bunch of new things are coming out lately. And this is to control the Canon 600EX-RT flashes. Yongnuo is coming out with their competitor to the new Canon flash. It's a radio-controlled flash, which is the first Canon or Nikon have released. Everything they do now is IR based, and IR sucks. It's just not reliable, and it doesn't work great in sunlight, and it won't go through walls or a bush, for example. So that's why I did the flash trigger roundup. It was all radio based systems, and this is just the newest system. But we're waiting on the flashes to come in. They haven't been finished yet. They're going to finish designing them and manufacturing them, and they'll send some out. So you'll see a review of this system in a few weeks. Be sure to subscribe.
Ooh. All right. Wow. We had a lot of gear this time. How about news? We have some news too. I know one. National Geographic's just announced their 2013 photo contest winner. And here it is. It's this picture of a polar bear under the water. It kind of gives me the creeps, but it's really beautiful. Oh, Tony, you have kind of a sad story.
Yeah, I'm bummed out by this, but Reuters and New York Times just ran an article saying that they predict all camera manufacturers to go out of business except for Sony, Canon, and Nikon, which is really too bad. Basically, all the mirrorless camera manufacturers, I think they're going to shut down. Panasonic, Fuji, Olympus, all the other smaller ones. They're not doing well. They're being squeezed by cool cameras and smartphones that give you that like instant connectivity, let you put stuff on Facebook right away. I know I love my smartphone, and in fact, I grab it a lot of times instead of even my DSLR. So they're being squeezed between those and the higher end DSLRs. People perceive the DSLRs as having better image quality because they're bigger and bulkier. They don't necessarily have better image quality than the awesome mirrorless interchangeable lens cameras out there. But people think they do, and so people in America aren't buying them. They still have a decent business in Japan, apparently, but here in America, well, anyway, these companies aren't selling enough to stay in business, so they think they're all going to fold. And Panasonic has, in fact, just yesterday, sold off 51% of its camera company to a third party, or at least its image sensor manufacturing. I don't know, I'm reading a lot into that, but I think it's going to be hard times for mirrorless companies.
Yeah, that sounds sad. If they finally send us the mirrorless cameras we asked for, maybe we can do some reviews and bump up their popularity just a smidgen.
Before they go out of business.
Yeah.
It's definitely something to think about when you buy into a system. You want to, if you plan to keep the camera around for a while and you want to make sure you get new lenses and stuff, it's kind of hard to recommend a system that might not be around. You have to feel confident in the company, and I feel totally confident Canon, Nikon, Sony. The other ones, honestly, looking at their financials, it's looking kind of iffy.
So now I'm going to go to my computer and show you how to apply makeup and post-processing using Photoshop. It's really easy. First of all, you need to make a layer, which I already did right here. You just click this button, and then you go into this bar here and you select overlay, and then you set your opacity to about 60 to 70%. Not a big deal. Next, you want to select a brush. And you want your brush to be soft, so you'll move the hardness down almost all the way. And the size you can do later, because you want it to be about the size of the lips, since I'm going to just show you how to do the lips. I don't have a ton of time. And next you want to select color. So you press this here, and then use the dropper. And to get a natural color, I like to select the lips. If you choose your own color, sometimes it won't complement your model's skin tone or hair color. And so this is a pretty safe way to choose a color. And I'm going to choose right there. That looks nice. And now let me zoom in more. I'm going to press toolbar, my space bar rather, and then drag like this, just to get it centered on the screen. I need the opacity of my brush all the way up. And now outline the lips like lip liner. It doesn't have to be perfect, because once you're done filling in the lips, to make it just a little bit more natural, I usually like to select the eraser and then put the opacity down to about maybe a little less than 50%, and make sure it's very soft. And then you can just go around the edges of the lips and just clean them up a bit. It makes them a bit more natural too if it fades out at the lips. Okay, let me zoom out. So you could go this dark, but like I said, I want a very natural look. So I'm going to go back over here to the opacity of that layer, and I'm going to move it down to 26%. You want to name your layer too. So I'll name this lips. And that's it. If you want to do other features, you can make a new layer, name it, let's say eyeliner, set it to overlay, and do that over again. But I'm going to give you a more in-depth video. So if you want to learn how to do this look that I created on Asia, stay tuned, subscribe, and I'm going to show you how to do that so I can take my time and take up some space in a video without feeling too guilty about it. All right, so that was our news, and now it's time for our reviews. Okay, let's get to our first picture. I like this one. What do you think, Tony?
I love it. It's just got beautiful kind of monochromatic tones to it, which are just perfect for the theme, which is this, looks like a barn cat almost. And I don't know, I just love the tones of it. Great eye contact, beautiful light in the eyes of the cat. Cats can be hard to photograph, but I think it's a beautiful picture. I don't even think I changed anything about it.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting about this picture is that the composition, it's not utilizing the rule of thirds. It's dead center, but there's something symmetrical about it. You have the legs of the chair coming down from both sides, and it kind of locks you into the eye contact with the cat, having it dead center like that, don't you think?
Yeah, and you know, also point out that if the cat had been against some sort of brightly colored background, because the cat is so gray, the background would have been too distracting. But because the background is the same kind of just really muted colors and tones, then the cat's eyes, which are really the only source of color in the whole picture, they really pop out at you. So I don't know if that was done with just the scene or processing. It looks like it was just the scene, but a great eye, great picture.
Yeah, very cool. Oh.
What you got in her hand there?
I think one of those things, when you go on a tour, it tells you about each thing on your tour.
We often see nuns, or I don't know, people in habits. I guess they wouldn't necessarily have to be a nun to have a habit. It'd be weird. But we often see people wearing habits when we're out traveling, and they're often taking tours and stuff. Seems like a pretty good gig.
Yeah. There's definitely a story here. My one complaint with the picture, let me zoom in here. She's off to the side, but it seems like there's some lens distortion, and also she's not quite in focus. Is she out of focus, or? I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. It would definitely be a stronger picture if she were sharper. And you're right, part of it is the distortion of the lens, and part of it, I think, is that the focus is somewhere in the middle of the picture. But nonetheless, I think the composition is really interesting. I like that she's peeking in from the side.
Yeah.
And I like that, you know, her gown is her habit is the brightest part of the picture.
Yes, and I like that there's a story too.
She's got a pretty sweet purse there too.
Oh yeah, she's rocking it. Ooh.
It's a really nice composition.
Yeah.
You know what I have to do.
You have to level the horizon. It's already level.
It's pretty close. I'll give him that. It was level. My head must be tilted.
Yeah, your head is on crooked again. Here, one other thing. Let's take out this. All right. Got that. Got that. Okay. Where did you press enter? Okay. I love the colors. I love the tones. I like the lighting. It's a nice scene. I think that the focal point is this right here. I don't know what it is. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree, and I like the nice kind of lines that it has. I think it's a nice picture. I can't think of anything particular to say about it. The shutter speed is at 1/30th. The shutter speed is going to be really important anytime you're on waves because longer shutter speeds will lead to like long, feathery water that just kind of takes over the whole scene, and shorter shutter speeds will show more of the action. So it looked like he's trying to get the longest shutter speed he could, shooting at f/22. But 1/30th is still enough to freeze the waves, whether that's the effect you're going for or not. But here, I love the waves here in the background. I think that's an important part of the picture.
Yeah, I like those too. It's a nice picture. That is cute, Steven.
Yeah, that is really cute.
People have learned that I'm a sucker for little rodents, I think.
Yeah, and I think what makes it good is that little bit of storytelling, because it's not just a picture of, I don't even know if this is a squirrel or a chipmunk. It looks like something in between.
A squirrel monk.
A squirrel monk. But the hand here just kind of projecting in the squirrel, because you could crop it down so that it was just a picture of the squirrel. And, you know, it would still be interesting, and it would still be a decent picture of a squirrel, but it's so much more useful or so much more meaningful when we just see that hand in there and we know that the squirrel is interacting with something.
Yeah, it's cute. I want to bring up the shadows just a little bit because there isn't a catch light in the squirrel's eyes. See, now the background is too high, but you can see that there's a catch light in the squirrel's eyes. You could kind of do that selectively. You could, I know you can do it in Lightroom. I usually bring things into Photoshop.
Adjustment brush here.
Yeah, that doesn't look good.
Well, I didn't do it well. It's kind of hard when it's so small.
Yeah. But anyway, my point is that you want to see the animal's eye and usually want there to be a catch light in the eye. It adds a little bit more life to the picture. But I like it. I like the storytelling. And I love little cute creatures, so.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. This one's all about the light and how it falls on these leaves, because if the light were any harder, you would just see harsh shadows that wouldn't show you that three-dimensional form. And if the light were any softer, all the shadows would disappear and it would just seem flat. So this has just the right amount of hardness to the light.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. I'm wondering if we should go ahead and get rid of the traces of the background, or if it would crop it down too much.
Give it a shot. But I was going to actually comment on how good of a job they did filling the frame.
Yeah, they did.
Right, they didn't quite completely fill the frame, and I think that would be better. But so many times people just stand back 5 feet from a flower and take a picture of it and as part of the larger scene, and you don't capture it. This is how you capture a flower. You get right in there. And like I said, the light is really key too.
Yeah, what did he do? 40th of a second, F8.
I'm not sure that we can really crop those out without screwing up the composition too much.
Yeah, well, that's what I didn't bother, because I think that it's going to...
Because now the focal point here is kind of getting uncomfortably close to the top.
Yeah.
But you get the idea. You see what we're going for.
I like this composition.
Another interesting thing is there's always bugs on flowers. You never notice them until you take a picture and you look at the details. Good settings on that.
Yeah, good shot, Russ. Ooh, there's a lot of movement in this picture.
Yeah, that's a beautiful picture. It looks like a double-decker bus going through, which made really interesting lines. And good timing. I know if he shot this at 1 second, that means he was shooting a bunch of pictures to get this right. Turned out perfect. I love the composition here.
Yeah, I think I would just raise the shadows a little bit just so that we could see more of what's going on over here with these ghostly people walking.
Yeah, I love the ghosty effect that we get from the longer shutter speed.
Yeah, it's a cool picture.
Should we try the white balance? You feel like it's a little too warm?
Oh, I know you like to go cooler with your night pictures. I can do it. Let me see if it will actually work if I click on something white. Oh.
It's too bright.
It's too bright. All right.
Yeah, it's entirely a matter of preference, and I think that's the way your camera probably would shoot it. But those artificial lights are really, really orange, and I guess I just get a little tired because they rob all the color from the picture. You don't see all the natural colors in the stones and the sidewalks, and the sky doesn't end up looking that blue. I love to have a nice, rich blue sky, and I love to have natural colors in the lights on the buildings. But it's preference.
Yeah, I like it. Uh-oh. Broke it.
Just click at the bottom there.
Oh, man.
It's a cutie. Is that just a really fat squirrel?
No, it's a prairie dog.
Oh, you think?
Yeah. I'm just bringing up the shadows again. I think you can see the person in the eye. Yeah. Taking the picture.
That's always a good sign when it's a self-portrait in the animal's eye. That means you got close enough. Yeah, he doesn't seem too shy at all. This photographer's using the D3200, which we've been playing with for the last few weeks, and I absolutely love that camera.
Yeah, it's a nice camera. Yeah, it's a cute picture. I think maybe it looks like you upped the saturation of this carrot a little bit. It looks a little bit unnatural. I would just bring that back down.
Looked okay to me. Anyway, nice, cute shot. You got nice and tight, and you did that at 55 millimeters, which is pretty remarkable. You must have been on top of that guy.
Yeah.
He's not shy.
Cute.
No distractions. Well, this chap is quite colorful.
Yeah, it's an interesting picture. So, I'm guessing you put the makeup on the lips in post-processing?
I don't think so. I think it's just the makeup the person is wearing. Like, look at the...
Yeah, but it's so sharp. Look how sharp it's like...
Yeah, I think they just wanted to accentuate the shape of their lips. I think that's real world.
That's real?
Yeah. It's like costume makeup.
I don't know.
Look at the eyebrows.
They'll tell us. Who is this? I don't know what your watermark says. Woolly back photo. You'll tell us. But if that is makeup in post-processing, I actually have a video on that. Oh, it's going to be in this. It's going to be in this one, right?
Yeah, you've just watched the video.
Oh, you just watched the video. Oops.
Showing exactly how to do lipstick.
Okay. But other than that, it's an interesting picture.
But the composition is bothering me a little. It's a little uncomfortable because the eyes are so low in the frame.
You want me to do this?
Yeah, I usually like to see the eyes closer to the top third, and they're actually below the bottom half in the original crop.
And you have to crop in the sides way too much if I do that.
Yeah, I'm not saying you can fix it with the crop.
Yeah.
You could have shot it a little bit differently when we were there. I do like the inclusion of the hat, but overall, with the composition, I think it'd be more comfortable if the eyes were closer to the top of the frame. Okay. But otherwise, nice light. I like the expression. Seems natural. Seems candid.
I think the light is a little bit hard. Maybe he could have had her back to the light. See how it's coming from the side and it's putting her eyes kind of in shadow. I guess it would be more so if we're backward to the light. Just trying to look for things to improve on. That's why people submit their pictures.
Well, to get technical, you shot it at 1/2500th and ISO 400. I would have dropped that to ISO 100 just to get a slightly cleaner picture. And then, what does it work to? 1/600, 1/750th of a second, somewhere in there.
Cool ideas, Tony. Maybe let me know and I'll mute it before you do that.
I'm muting myself.
Oh. I like this picture. It looks very candid and natural.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a catalog, actually.
Yeah, it sure does. It's a really nice shot. Yeah, and it does seem very natural. Great background blur. Good levels in the black and white processing. Often the skin tones end up too dark, but her skin tones look perfect.
Yeah, I like it. No complaints. Nikki Harrington, hi. I love the tones in this picture. They're so warm. One thing I'd notice is that it's lacking kind of like a place for my eye to rest.
Yeah, you know what I want to see is like a swan going through the foreground, or an alpaca, a llama. I forget.
Oh, needs more llama.
Yeah, we need to stick a llama head in there. And it's a minor technical point, but I'll bring up the settings again. This is at ISO 800, but it doesn't need to be. You could, 1/1000th is faster of a shutter speed than you really need, so you could drop that down to ISO 100, and then you'd be shooting at like 1/60th of a second, which would still be plenty fast.
But what's going on here? Because she has 1/1000th of a second, but then the water is blurred. She must have done that in post. Because it almost looks like it's a long exposure on the water, but then it's not. And you can see kind of sneaks up into these trees.
Yeah, I was actually wondering if that's just natural blur, or if it was done in post. You know, at 100 millimeters in f/5.6, it might have been blurred if she focused well back there in the trees.
But anyway, nice photo, Nikki. This is a cute picture.
Yeah, beautiful portrait. Good amount of fill flash. You know, I think one step up from this would be to move that flash off camera a little bit, or to put a softbox on it. But as far as using an on-camera flash, this is the exact technique I'll use all the time for just quick outdoor portraits. Just a little bit of on-camera fill flash. It's quick and easy to do. Turned out beautiful. Great background blur.
Yeah.
Good exposure, which it would have been easy to underexpose this because of the bright background, but you nailed it.
Yeah, I really like that shot. Let me just see. She has such a nice face. I thought maybe black and white would work, but I actually really like the colors in that one. Ooh. It's an interesting photo.
Yeah, very cool scene. Unfortunately, it's kind of small already.
Oh yeah, we can't zoom in.
But I would actually, that's what I want to do too. I want to zoom in because, you know, the action is the tattoo artist looking at his pen, and the pen going into the arm, and kind of everything over to the right side of the picture. All this I feel like is a distraction, like his butt's in the way. Like this is kind of what I want to see here, right? You just want to like get in close on this.
Yeah, I like it cropped down even more. I love his focus.
Yeah, this is where we're looking, and everything else in the photo is a distraction. We don't really need to see this guy. We can see the arm and presume that there's a dude there in pain.
Yeah.
I'd also like to see this just brighter overall. Like looking at the histogram here, we can see the whole right third of the histogram is just empty. And you can still convey kind of a dark mood. Even if you want a picture to look dark, you need to have some point of highlight in there. You can make everything else in a dark. But this picture still, I think, conveys the same mood.
Yeah, and I like the grittiness of the photo, and I think I would even enhance that a little bit just by bumping up the clarity. Just a little bit. That's a cool photo. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and a cool scene. But yeah, they're rocking a 70-200, so when they were shooting it, they had the opportunity to kind of position themselves and zoom in tight. So just think about what the story is that you're conveying and try to eliminate anything that's a distraction.
It's a nice photo. I like the leading line.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's another picture where I want it to have a focal point of some kind.
Someone at the end of this, or walking down it.
A sailboat going past, or a llama.
Justin's here. A llama?
Llamas.
Ooh, I love the reflections in this picture.
Oh yeah, that's really beautiful.
Right away, I notice it kind of steals my attention is that the sky is a bit oversaturated. So this looks like HDR, and that probably happened in the processing.
Hey Justin, we're doing our
Justin.
Review of reader photos.
That's really tough with HDR. I know that it just does that and it'll oversaturate the colors, but it gives you the option to work on the saturation depending on which HDR software you're working with. I think we use Photomatics.
Yeah.
So you can look out for that. But if you don't do it in that program, you can always go back to here and just bring down the colors yourself. So it's just a little bit more natural. Let's see if. But other than that, what do you think, Tone? It's a beautiful picture.
Yeah, very nice.
Oh, cute.
That little house sparrow.
Perfect head position. This is a finch.
House finch.
You always talk about the head position, and they got it right, Tony. Perfect profile.
The lighting.
Nice catch light in the eye. Good lighting.
No distractions in the background. This is a perfect picture. I wonder if he used a bird studio, because these house finches are a little too shy to get this close normally.
Yeah.
And only at 200 millimeters, so he was really close.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's got a little seed there on his bill, so I wouldn't be surprised if there was a bird feeder just off camera, which is how I recommend doing it. Beautiful, beautiful detail, perfectly sharp, nicely done.
Great photo, right? Ooh. Paul
Oh, can we go back to that last picture?
Oh, sure.
I just want to add one thing. This guy shot it with a T1i, which, if you look on eBay, you can probably pick it up for $100. And he shot it with a 200 millimeter lens. So everybody complains that you need to spend like $10,000 on wildlife photography gear, and you just don't. This guy got it with by spending much less, and to me that's a real show of skill when you can get by without using a huge lens or a big expensive body. Raise those shadows.
Yeah.
In fact, raise the whole exposure a little bit.
Okay. We got a backseat driver over here. I'm just teasing. Just teasing you. All right. That did help. Ooh, I love the old glove too.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful shot. And if you ever get a chance, different towns, especially touristy towns, you can find organizations that will do falconry exhibits. And if you can sign up for one of those, definitely do it, because it's a great chance to see the birds kind of at work and to learn a lot about the birds and to get really close-up pictures.
Yeah, this is a great shot. I love the colors too. It's so monochromatic. All right, good one, Paul. What is going on here?
All right, so we have a stately government building here.
No visitors. Yeah.
And, the composition is the right composition. He chose like a square, symmetrical composition, which helps to kind of make it look even more stately.
Is this level? What would I even level it on?
Oh, I'd go right down that center line. Just make sure that it looks good to me. Make sure the line goes right from the middle of that door up to the top.
All right. I just raised the shadows a bit because it looks a little dingy. There we go. Brighten it up. I'm going to drop the blacks just a little bit just to give it some contrast. Oh, I think I went too far with the clarity. But yeah, it's an interesting picture. I would probably Photoshop the sign out.
Or make the sign the focus.
Make it the focus.
Well, maybe it's part of the story you're trying to tell.
Oh, that's true.
But you're right. Now it's at this point where you kind of can and can't see it. So make it bigger or take it out completely. You could make it bigger by just getting lower.
Is the saturation of the lawn bothering you?
Past that sign. It does seem pretty bright, but it wasn't bothering me, no.
All right, I'm just going to make it a little more natural. There we go. If you go too far to the emerald green side, that's when it starts to look a little unnatural. So sometimes you just want to bring it more to the yellow side. What'd you think? I like it.
Yeah.
You know what? It's too bad they didn't get a good day for this guy, because that can really make or break a picture.
Yeah, what are you going to do
But it
about
kind
the
of
sky?
simplifies the composition to have a plain sky. You could Photoshop a new one if you want to be a total cheater.
Yeah, I would be okay with cheating.
All right, that was a cool picture though.
Oh, what a cute squirrel.
They are so
I
cute.
wish we had these cute guys
I
with
know,
the big ears.
me too.
And your zoom there is just about right.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. Experimental cropping. We need a soundtrack. We need some music.
Yeah, start some beatboxing, Justin.
I feel it's so quiet. I feel like they just hear our every breath. Like we're like so gross over here. We need some tunes in the background. All right. I'm going to bring up the shadows just a little bit. I'm always doing that today. What's with me today? But that's cute.
No shadow Chelsea. I don't know. Raise that exposure a little bit too.
Oh.
There you go. Everything brightens up a little bit.
He has a funny little coat, doesn't he? It's like, it looks like he's wearing someone else's fur coat.
Yeah, he looks like he's in a very thoughtful pose.
He's so cute.
I don't think
You know, someone should Photoshop a little microphone in right here. It looks like he's about to break it down. Cute picture. This is interesting. Reminds me of a stock photo.
Yeah, and in stock photography, one of the challenges we always had is whether you focus on the hand or the face. And I found that they pretty much reject you if you focus on the hand because they want to see the face sharp, even though I think this is a totally valid pose. I would just move to the side a little bit so the hand isn't blocking the face.
I see, like, shoot from this way a little bit and then separate the hand from the face so the hand would be over here.
Yeah, isn't it bugging you a little bit that the finger's kind of going in front of the nose?
Yeah, I guess. I see what you're saying.
And I agree with the crop too. There's a little too much negative space above her head. Didn't really contribute to it. Oh, I do like it warmer actually.
Yeah, warm it up a little. But yeah, other than that, it's cute. I like that they're, you know, thinking outside the box a little bit. They're doing something different. Well, this is different.
I assume this is a play.
I think it's a family dinner. Crazy family. It's nice. It's a nice picture.
Yeah, you know, we cover this in the group photo section in chapter 6, but I would love to see them a little bit, squeeze a little tighter. Specifically that guy on the outside. He's got a lot of distance between him and the other people, and that's like a comfortable distance when you're just hanging out.
I feel like we could
But when you go to take a picture, it seems like you're way too far away. You always have to tell people to get uncomfortably close. Just really squeeze in there.
Would you use those words?
I always use those words. I'm sure you've heard me say them. Get weirdly close to your sister there.
I don't like the way that sounds. Well, I like that there's a nice dark background too, separating the subjects from the background a bit. They pop right off of the background. It's a good picture. And I love the bright colors and the lighting. Very cool.
Good settings, ISO 100. Oh,
dog. Cute. Your dog's out of focus. Maybe it's just a blurry dog. In person, the dog is.
Yeah,
well,
it's
you can
a special
see,
breed of Labrador, the blurry Labrador.
You can see that this is in focus. This is where the focal plane is. It's so hard to get a dog's eyes in focus. And then you always want to focus on the eyes because if you focus on the nose, the eyes will be out of focus because their nose is so far away from their eyes. Dogs are ridiculous like that.
Speaking of the nose, he's got a case of the eraser nose, just like Sandy does.
Just like our dog Sandy. Yeah. We tried to return her, but they said no.
So use a single focus point on your camera and put it right on the eye. And if the dog is moving towards you, just be sure to use continuous focus. And take lots of pictures, especially with the D3100.
Oh, he's at 1.8.
Yeah, really shallow depth of field.
That's really shallow. Yeah. That was a toughie. You know now. Well, this is pretty.
Yeah, it's all about the colors, isn't it? Unfortunately, that horse is such an interesting focal point, but it's so dark that it's kind of hard to see. You kind of end up squinting. I'm not sure we're going to be able to do it in Lightroom, but I think some dodging and burning in Photoshop could really bring that horse out while keeping the sky fairly balanced.
Yeah.
Beautiful scene. That must have been fantastic to see. Oh, the sky looks great there.
Yeah. That's cool. I like this one. Good composition, good story.
Yeah, good crop too. Yeah, I would just love to see the horse brought out a little bit, don't you think?
Yeah, I was just pondering how to do that.
I'll try something though. I'm not great at the adjustment brush in my room. Okay, that's not good, but hang on. I usually do this stuff in Photoshop.
Yeah, we've become really Photoshop reliant. We need to practice more in Lightroom.
Oh, so here's before and here's after, and that's not very precise, but you can see I just wanted to make the horse pop out a little bit more.
Okay.
Because just to balance the picture.
Yeah, I see where you're going.
Because the right side of the picture is so bright, and the left side just got so dark.
I like that. 30 Rock. I like this.
Yeah, it's a nice shot. And it's almost black and white, except for some warm tones in there.
Yeah.
I guess they just wanted to show the gold lettering.
Yeah. I like that. I usually don't like spot color, but that
good shot.
Wasn't too heavy-handed. It worked, yeah.
And so here we have a nice symmetrical composition. It's kind of showing the snow, which we've all been dealing with recently. At least those of us in the U.S.
It almost looks monochromatic, so I feel like we should just go for it. Otherwise, the only thing in color are these.
Yeah, you're right.
And
it's not really,
I don't want to look at those.
I didn't even notice when we switched to black and white. So I'd love to see some storytelling or a focal point in here. You know, maybe a snowplow going down the road and pushing the snow out of the way, or I don't know, some traveler stuck walking down the road.
Nice. Cool picture. I raised the shadows a tad too, so I put it in black and white, raised the shadows, and now it's more about the lines and we're not distracted by these little signs and things. Yeah, I like that picture. Uh-oh. Somebody
nice
discovered their reflection. She's like, "Who are you, you beautiful girl, you?" It's very cute.
Yeah, I love the processing on it. It has a very vintage feel.
Yeah.
It must have been dark in that room to be at ISO 6400. We certainly could have lowered the shutter speed down to maybe 1/30th and gone with, ISO 1600 maybe.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look noisy to me from here.
No, there's quite a bit of noise in here.
Yeah.
But you could select that and then blur it. You can just blur the background. Get rid of that.
Check out Chapter 8. There's an editing wildlife photos video. Though she's clearly not wildlife, the noise reduction techniques will be useful too.
Yeah. Nice picture. Well, this is interesting.
A little bit of a balancing act there.
Yeah, I like the reflection. I like all of the symmetry, and it's pretty cool.
I feel like the negative space is a little unbalanced.
Yeah, right?
I think it's bigger below than above. You just want to make sure to balance that pretty precisely since you're doing a symmetrical composition.
Is that better?
That's better. Even though it was a tiny amount, it was enough to make the whole thing feel unbalanced, even if you're not consciously aware of it. Oh, I like it in black and white too.
I like it in almost black and white. Or black and white.
Whoa, 25-second exposure on this.
Cool shot. Different. I mean, I don't know where you got this idea. Would you have ever thought to get 2 forks and an egg?
Yeah, I've done that shot 1,000 times.
Oh yeah, I've seen this.
It's a water drop shot, but there's a lot of in the shot besides the water drop. So
yeah.
The first thing I do is just crop that down.
I like this though. I think I just cropped down the top. Self something.
Well, it's a little bit hard to see the water drop, which I think is the most interesting part of the picture because it's not the brightest part of the picture.
Yeah.
It's partially out of focus and it's taking up such a small part of the frame. So I think if it's a picture of a waterfall, you want like a close-up lens on there. You want to get as tight as you can and then crop it down a little bit further. If the can or something is part of the story, if it's an important part of the composition, then it's not clear to me. And you might just think about how to use storytelling techniques to make, why the can is significant more clear to the viewer.
Yeah, I think that's what I was struggling with, is that I like that usually we just see a water drop picture and it's just a water drop, and they can be very cool, but there's no story, and I've seen them a million times, so it's getting a bit boring for me. So I like that there's something else in the picture.
You even heard Chelsea trying to read the paint can to figure out what it meant because it seemed so significant, but then we weren't really rewarded. We couldn't figure out what it meant.
Yeah. But I like that they did something different. Cool. Cool to you.
All right, some holiday ornaments here.
This is dark.
I think is that Prague? No, Mexico City.
Yes. I remember this building. Oh, the composition's a bit square. But I can't crop it, so there isn't any room. Maybe warm it up a little, give it a little holiday cheer.
Yeah, I think the exposure needed to go up a little. Sometimes when you're shooting into lights there, your camera will tend to underexpose, but you can use some exposure compensation.
Yeah, so I just raised the exposure a bit, as you can see, and just brought the temperature up so that it was a bit warmer, and I think it looks good.
Yeah.
Yay, we did it. Ooh.
All right. I think this qualifies as street photography.
He is really seriously thinking about that Pepsi. I know this is in New York because that's a very small Pepsi. Look at this.
Oh, right. Didn't they have rules against larger sodas? I wonder if that actually got enacted. Well, yeah, I like the balance between the Timothy Oliphant there in the poster in the background and our focus there. I want to see the whole thing brighter, though. Don't you feel like it's a little gray?
I want to see it just balanced a little bit. Do you think that that's taking away from the picture too much?
No, I think that's an improvement.
You want the whole exposure up a little bit?
Yeah, it's all mid-tones.
So yeah, I'm going to bring up the shadows. I think that's the photographer.
Oh, busted.
I like this one a lot.
Yeah, me too.
It's a slice of life. Cool. Other than that, other than just the minor crop changes and bringing up some of the shadows so we could see the detail in his jacket and everything, I wouldn't change a thing. It's a really great shot. I love it. Okay. What we got here? Interesting flower. It looks like it's related to the hibiscus.
Yeah, this is a tough one because the flower itself is very bright, but at the same time, the greens in the background are pretty distracting.
I'm not hearing you anymore.
Test, test, test.
Yeah, I'm not hearing you.
Test, 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 test. Oh, no battery.
Grab some batteries downstairs.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind grabbing a couple of batteries. So I will just lean into Chelsea for a minute until Justin's fetching me a couple more batteries.
Let's share. Sharing is caring. All right. So
you might consider dropping the saturation or the luminance of the greens a little bit. For this flower, I'd really love to see it. Why that quiet? For this flower, I'd really love to see it like isolated on a black background. That'd be nice.
well, this is what's difficult about this flower. It's a really unusual shape. So it's difficult to get close because if you get too close, then you're leaving out the center part. I don't know what it's called, the stamen, whatever. And if you're too far back, then you're missing a lot of detail. Actually, is it focused on the stem? It's really hard to focus on this flower. What happened to our data right here?
It disappears at some point every time, and there's not a key we pressed or
Oh,
anything.
good. Get your batteries.
Thank you, Dusty.
Something always goes wrong with our sound. And then we have to hear people on the internet complain.
Oh, brace yourself.
Brace yourself.
All right, am I back?
You're back. Yay. Okay, so I like their composition. I think this is a difficult flower to work with. Maybe the answer is stepping back and zooming in, because then you get more in focus.
You'd get a shallower depth of field if you did that.
Oh, that's not the right advice.
It's tough. You could also pick a different angle and try to have this projecting towards the camera so that you could better fill the frame, but at the same time that would introduce depth of field challenges. Like I said, it's hard.
That's a difficult
All
flower.
I can really suggest is maybe bringing it and putting it in front of a black background. I'm just trying to make it pop a little bit more. Gotta get rid of that yellow. Well, just a suggestion.
Spoonbill.
Yeah, these birds must be really easy to care for because you see them in every zoo ever.
Good picture though. Everything's in focus.
Yeah, he's doing something.
It's often difficult to get like white feathers, any texture in them. They usually get blown out, but you did it. A good exposure.
Yeah, maybe raise the exposure a little bit. Just look at the histogram. I see some extra room there on the right. Yeah, just so you don't blow out the feathers too much, but I think that helps a little. Helps make the reflection a little more prominent.
Okay, I just brought down the highlights a little bit to bring those white feathers back. But yeah, interesting. I like the picture. I like the ripples in the water. Cool. Joshua Herbert. He's got a nice Dutch angle going.
Yeah, and this is a good way to show how it's cold. You know, he wanted to convey that it was cold. There was a lot of snow and ice, and so he just found a single interesting subject and made that the entire picture. I love the way the light is shining through the icicles, because icicles in any other light would have been totally boring. Oh, I did kind of like it. Cool.
He did something interesting. I don't know if I'd change it, but he chose very warm colors, and I can see that the sun must be low in the sky, the way it's hitting the sides of the icicles.
Yeah.
So the light was warm, but cooler colors make it look like a colder environment. But I think I like his warm.
Yeah, it kind of depends on the story you want
could
to
do
tell.
split toning too. I do this. The highlights, you make them warm, and then the shadows you make cool, and then you can kind of balance them. So maybe you can bring down the warmth a little bit. And I like that. Ooh. Spooky. Nice picture. I like that they got level with the animal.
Yeah, definitely. I'm wondering about all that space in front of the animal, but it was clearly a deliberate choice. So as long as it's deliberate, I applaud it.
Yeah, very cool. Oh, so cute. Just gonna bring up the exposure and the shadows a little bit. If you had taken a step to your left, you could have gotten this white background, and then there wouldn't have been a little clutter behind the dog.
Yeah.
But it does kind of tell a story, because I know you're in the kitchen with the dog, and it makes me think that, you know, he's new and he's just kind of getting used to the family. Uh-oh. Yeah, it's a great picture. Oh, he's sweet. I like that a lot. And I like that you look down at him a little bit. He looks small. Oh. many cute dogs.
Melody and the dog.
Yeah, I like that too. Let's see. I think I like the color because he has really cute coloring. But yeah, I like the composition. I like how close you are. You've got eye contact. You have a good catch light. Nice clean background. Great shot. So many cute puppies today. Oh. I love all the textures in the shot.
Oh yeah, and beautiful processing to give it that kind of vintage look, which goes really well with the subject.
Yeah.
Wow, I've never seen such a complex watermark though. What's going on down there? There's like a lot of legal stuff.
Yeah.
It's like a terms and agreement down there. All rights reserved.
Well, they probably had their picture stolen. There's been a lot of that going on. Yeah. Just a simple watermark usually does the trick. If somebody's determined to steal your picture, they'll just remove all of that stuff anyway.
Yeah, and you don't actually have to put a copyright logo on pictures, at least in the US. But as far as I know, it's international law for the most part. As soon as you take a picture, it's copyrighted, and you don't have to say, this is copyrighted. You don't have to put a logo on it. It just is.
You know, I've had problems with people stealing my pictures before. I have a plugin on Google where you just right-click a picture and you can search it and you can see everywhere it's been used on the internet. Well, a lot of places anyway.
Yeah.
And
Google image search in Chrome.
Yeah, and so I found my picture and I'll just write people and say, hey, I know I didn't sell you my picture. You can buy it from me or you can take it down. And they usually just take it down.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's ever bought it. There's not a money-making proposition.
No, but it's also, I don't know, I don't think it's that big of a deal. They weren't going to buy it anyway. It's like everything else people pirate. But anyway, we like your picture. Sorry for the watermark spiel.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
Yeah. Mohammed's picture. Fantastic action. I love the balance of the shot between the writer in the background and the writer in the foreground. I don't at all mind that it kind of violates the rule of space because it is so well balanced with that background writer. And the writers in the foreground's shadow balances it really nicely.
Yeah, that's cool.
Fantastic shot.
Great shot, Mohammed. I usually don't like statue pictures, but this is really beautiful.
Yeah, the light on this really makes it.
The light and the balance of the picture and the composition is beautiful. Great shot. I wouldn't change a thing. I love that.
It's a great, thoughtful, deep portrait. What's with that line in the background?
I don't know.
I'm not sure about the line, but I like everything else about it.
I was going to just bring up the exposure just a little bit.
I imagine he's a cellist, some serious musician.
Oh. You do?
It's a little hot on his face. Yeah, there you go.
Maybe bringing up the exposure wasn't the right thing because it made his face weird.
Yeah, I feel like that was a little much.
Yeah, I don't know what this line is. I don't know where he is, but I like the lighting.
Though I wonder about the name Double X Photography. Don't you think that makes it sound like it should be a little bit dirty?
I think that's triple X.
So double X isn't just like a little bit less than triple X?
Oh, you think it should be like a lesser degree of triple X?
I don't know. I guess double X has nothing to do with triple X, but it seems
we
like they
don't
would be
know
related.
what the rest of the series of pictures looks like.
That's what I was wondering. Like, what's in the next set?
I don't want to know. How that you thought I like that. But I do like this picture. He has a manly beard. And I like that about him. Oh, sad.
More likely bored.
I think someone tried to make her eat her vegetables. She's at the dinner table. Okay, let's bring up a lot of contrast. My only...
She's had a beverage recently.
Oh, yeah.
Kids' faces. You never see it when you're just looking at them. And then you
Come
take
on,
a picture.
kids. I just wish there were a little more of a catch light in the eye, but it's not that big of a deal.
No, I like it.
You like it. It's a nice picture.
Wow, what's
I wouldn't walk
happening
on
here?
that.
of fish going on, but everything's like leaning.
Try leveling that, Tony. Cool. I like the story.
I like it. It's cool.
A lot of saturation.
Oh, much cold.
Very
Some
snow. Wow. This is really cute.
Yeah, the exposure is good, but we do have to get some life in those eyes.
I don't think it's going to happen.
No, you can use the selective brush, which I'm not batting.
They're in there somewhere.
Yeah, you just gotta either. I always use Photoshop, so I always just dodge those eyes up in Photoshop, maybe the nose a little bit too. But you can do it using the selective brush in Lightroom. I feel like the balance is a little off here because there's more room to the left than the right.
Oh, you think that? It felt okay to me.
Yeah, I'd love to see it pulled in from the right a little bit.
Like this.
Yeah, so long as we don't clip his ears.
You have the cutest little ears.
Yeah. Covered in snow.
But then his body's cut in a weird place.
Yeah. Well, this can't be fixed with cropping, but it's one of those things you can fix compositionally when you're taking the picture. I just feel like this balance left and right is a little bit better. But yeah, I'm not suggesting that cropping fixes everything. Sometimes you gotta fix when you're taking a picture.
Yeah. Okay. I got what you're saying.
Right, a nice sunset photo. You can see snow on the trees, though they get a little dark because they're not lit.
Really hard to balance the exposure in a picture like this.
Yeah, this is a good opportunity for using HDR. Like at the time, you just have to bracket your shots, which is nice to do anyway. So just bracket the shots, and then later you can combine them with HDR or just manually blend them. I describe both techniques in Chapter 11.
That's a beautiful sunset, though.
It is.
Bubbles.
Yeah, that's great. And by including the child's face, it's that important element of storytelling. If the child's face hadn't been in there, if it was close with just the bubbles, it would have been so much less interesting. But we can see the child is doing it and is having fun with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, great shot. I like everything about it.
I'm disagreeing with myself as I'm doing it.
Well, I see what you're doing is you're trying to just eliminate some of the unused space and fill the frame more with the important elements of the story. And I think you've done that.
Okay.
All right, we have some serious mood lighting here.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a nice pose. Looks like a single hard light with really deep shadows.
Excuse me.
I'd be curious to experiment with maybe a larger light source too, because the transition is so harsh and kind of intense from the highlights to the shadows. I'll just zoom in a little bit here, like from here to here. And if it were a little bit bigger light source, we'd see a little bit softer fall off, which to me conveys like a gentler, more peaceful mood. And overall, I think this is a peaceful picture. She's just kind of relaxing and making direct eye contact. All the lines here are kind of angled, and yet her head is kind of straight. I wonder if maybe her head were like resting against the back of the chair. It might seem a little more relaxed.
Yeah, it might be nice if she weren't wearing all black too, just that you could catch a little more of the form of her body, because right now she's just like arms and legs and a face.
Yeah. And balance-wise, I feel like her toe here is a little close to the edge of the frame. See, there's this much space here, and then there's like this much space here. It'd be nice if those are a little more the same. Just different things to think about it. I like the picture a lot.
Yeah, I do like the
I
picture.
don't mean to be negative about it.
Yeah, it's nice. Flowers.
Wet rose. Yeah, they're beautiful. Just beautiful. I love the light on it. The way the background just went to black. I definitely liked it.
I brought down the highlights just a little bit because you were losing some detail with it being so bright.
Actually, I think I liked it with the highlights raised a little bit.
Really?
Just makes it pop off the frame a little bit. I don't think anything's being lost looking at the histogram.
I like it better with a little less. I guess it's a difference of opinion, Tony.
So decide for yourself.
Oops. I'm going to do it my way since I'm driving. But next week you get to do whatever you want. Cool.
I'd want the flower in the middle.
You want it totally centered?
Yeah, that's what I would do.
I think I like the negative space, but nice picture.
Well, here we have a very shallow depth of field and not really enough even to get a small baby's head in focus. We really want to see when, it's a direct shot like that, we really need to see both the eyes in focus. And, you could use a higher f-stop number. You might need to this close. Also, your focusing is never going to be that precise. So you probably did use a single focus point, but you'll just have to take dozens of shots and kind of move your body in and out a little bit between them. Because especially working close range like this, no autofocus system works that great. So often what I'll do is I'll just use autofocus on the eye and then take my finger off that back button, focus button, and just use my body leaning in and out to very precisely focus. And again, knowing that I'm not going to get it perfect every time, I'll take dozens and dozens of shots, just kind of refocusing between each one. And then I'll just pick the best one, the sharpest one.
Solid advice. Oh, this is pretty. I love those mountains in the sky.
Yeah, that is very nice. Yeah, beautiful picture.
Is that a big bird?
Yeah, it looks like an egret or heron.
Beautiful.
Shadows? I feel like there's some interesting detail in those trees in the foreground that we can't really see. Anyway, better before.
You never know till you try. Oops.
All right, that's creative.
Yeah, that's cool.
I like that. I like the processing on it, the way the subject in the frame itself is the brightest part. Oh, it wasn't quite straight.
It was straight enough. Cool.
Yeah, nice. Like, that's a really cute picture.
Yeah, it's really cute.
Wow. Normally I'll suggest getting in tighter on the faces, but I think their dresses are an important part of the picture. So the wider angle makes a lot of sense. I might like to see their heads tilted in towards each other a little bit.
I would back off of the eye enhancement just about 10%. I think you did a good job. You brightened them up a little bit, but just a bit too much. Especially with kids, they can start to look a little bit doll-like. So, and it's hard because you're kind of incrementally changing things when you're doing the editing. So what I'll do when I'm editing, especially eyes, is I'll edit them and then I'll bring it back. I'll slide everything back about 10%. And it usually looks a bit more realistic. But other than that, it's a really pretty picture.
Yeah, the light captured their dresses just beautifully. Very nice.
This is an interesting effect. It looks more like a drawing than a picture.
Yeah, they have like an oil painting effect on it.
Yeah, I might just crop it down.
Yeah, there's that big black thing in the corner, and I'm not sure.
It's like a log that he's going to land on, but...
Oh, you feel like he's going to land on it?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know that it's adding to the picture.
Yeah, it wasn't clear to me how it related to him.
So it does look like a drawing or something, which is neat.
Yeah, it's an interesting processing choice. Looks good. Well, good pose is doing something. That's important. Good head position.
Yeah. And it's hard because we don't get an explanation. Like maybe the person told us like, oh, I want this to look like a drawing, or maybe...
Oh, they definitely did.
Yeah. Sometimes people also go overboard with processing, but I don't think that's the case here. It's very cool.
Wow. Just
Terrifying.
nope. I don't know how you stayed there long enough not fleeing this terrifying scene. Yeah, I don't even think they need to put the private sign there. I think
Nobody was
dead
gonna.
mannequins with empty eyes staring at you is enough to deter anybody from going in there.
Tony, what if this is their house?
Yeah, my apologies. I
This
love what
one
you've
looks
done.
so real. I love what you've done.
It's great decorating.
You have
I see some lights on there, so Merry Christmas. Just ruining Christmas for kids everywhere.
Well, at least they're wearing Santa hats.
The shadows here are
Shadows,
pretty intense.
yeah.
Huh?
This is really harsh lighting. You want to get them into a shadow if you want some diffused light, or
Well, first to focus on the positive, you did a great job of grouping them. Everybody can see the camera. Nobody's face is blocked except by light.
yeah, they pose
they're
them
nice
really
and close.
nicely. Yeah.
The posing there is great. I definitely would have asked those people to take their sunglasses off, but then again, they're staring right into the sun. So you just need to move them out of the sun, move them into the shade somewhere, or put their backs to the sun. That gives you a nice backlighting, and it puts their faces in shadow and give you a much softer light.
Yeah, it won't be a especially sharp photo probably, but at least there won't be really unflattering shadows on their faces. But the posing is great.
You could try to raise the shadows, and it would help a little. But yeah, you can't fix everything in post. And
No, I don't think it's gonna. I don't know about this one, Tony.
And also, I don't know, the lady on the left there is holding some tool or weapon of some kind. But
They're cutting down Christmas trees.
oh, is that what they're doing? Okay.
Or
see,
she's the
that
person that owns this house.
Dismembering mannequins. So that's an important part of the storytelling that wasn't clear to me, because I've never used a saw like that to cut down a Christmas tree. So you could have made it a little more clear by maybe showing the rows of Christmas trees in the background, or have one of them holding up the Christmas tree that they've just taken down. Because as it is, I'm just like, why is a lady holding a terrifying saw?
What's the shortcut to show the before and after?
I don't know.
Someone told me once.
No.
Oh, well.
I always just do it with the mouse.
Okay. But anyway, I just dropped the highlights a little bit and brought up the shadows and kind of balanced it. And it looks a bit better. Ooh.
Cold seems to be a theme this week.
Yeah, everybody's cold.
We are too.
We're cold too.
I think it's like 15 degrees outside
Some
right now.
person from like Florida always ruins it and puts up some picture of it being really nice. Make me mad. Okay.
So like the other fellow, this person found something that symbolized the cold, which is this, I don't know if there's still a leaf in there.
No, I think the leaf is gone. It's just the ice.
Yeah, beautiful. Interesting shot. The lighting is a little harsh. You might have tried this with natural light too. It looks like you have on-camera flash and you tilted your camera to the left. That is like an external flash attached to the camera. But it led to fairly harsh lighting.
Yeah. I'd like to see it with more natural lighting too, but it is a cool subject. Cool, get it?
No.
Wow, this cat has very beautiful eyes. What? Looks so shocked.
He's got a picture of himself on his collar.
This cat is narcissistic. That's a cool picture. I like it. It
Maybe
looks like
that's a
it's
version
school
of,
photo.
Yeah, maybe it's like his version of an ID in case he needs to get in a bar. It's like a picture ID around his collar.
He's cute. What is it? Does this look like cut out? What is the background? What's happening? See how there's kind of a dark...
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I don't think they could have cut out those whiskers though.
Yeah, but you know what? I kind of like the effect because it looks like, I don't know. It looks funny in a good way. Like it looks like he got a school picture taken. It doesn't quite look natural, but it doesn't look bad. It looks good.
You might think about taking the collar off for future pictures.
I like the collar.
Oh, really? I find it distracting.
Yeah, because I like that, he's on it. Good. Cool cat. Cool picture. Oh, it was nice. I should mention it's also nice and sharp.
Yeah, incredibly sharp.
It's great.
Beautiful eyes.
God,
What a cute picture.
baby.
That's a great shot. Often kids' clothes are too bright and it becomes distracting, but I think here it becomes the focal point of the picture. And my first birthday is an important part of storytelling, assuming it's actually her birthday. She's not a liar.
No, you'd be surprised what kids do these days.
She's trying to get presents out of us.
Yeah, it's a really cute picture. I like it. Good expression. Whoa.
Speaking of a good expression, this is like a school portrait too.
There's a cormorant.
Yeah, sure looks like it to me.
It's unusual and an unusual angle, but I think it works.
Yeah, the birds can be a little tough front on, but they do make interesting pictures. Sometimes they're comical.
Yeah, that's
He seems to have a really upset expression.
He's cute. I like that shot. Nice and sharp.
Yeah,
Good.
great shot. Oh,
Jan.
what a nice composition.
Yeah, I like that.
I love shooting into the sun. You know, I had somebody ask a question whether they'd accidentally taken a picture at 1/4000th of a second into the sun, and they were afraid it might have damaged their camera. But generally, no, unless you leave your shutter open long enough for the heat from the sun to build up and damage it, you're going to be fine. Please do shoot into the sun. You know, you might not want to look at the viewfinder if you're using a big telephoto lens, but it generally won't hurt your camera, and it creates an amazing effect like this. The sun is a focal point that you can often go to when you just need a focal point. So without the sun here, this would have been a fairly uninteresting picture of a bridge. But with the sun, your eye goes right to that, and there's a focal point in the composition.
Yeah, I like it. Maybe the crop wasn't right. Yeah, nice shot. This picture is called The Light, and I get it. The light is beautiful in the shot.
Yeah,
You can see the
just highlighting
shadows.
the subject.
and-
Everything else is dark.
Yeah,
Yeah, very nice.
I like it. No complaints here.
Another shot conveying the cold.
Everybody's cold.
Yeah, I love the way the light is shining through those icicles. I might even have just gone in even tighter on those icicles, because I'm not sure that like this building here really adds to the picture.
You would really simplify it?
Yeah. We actually saw another take on the same kind of angle earlier with somebody just taking a picture of the icicles. But I do think that's the most interesting part of the picture.
Yeah, but I like the...
I like the lamppost.
Yeah, I like the lamppost, I was going to say.
Maybe we can integrate that in some way. I don't so much like the top of that building there. Yeah, I like that better.
Okay.
This looks like our last picture.
Ooh, pretty. It's very
I
dark.
knew you were going to grab those shadows.
You have to. Look at everything going on in there. I thought he was a black.
Yeah, it's a tough, with a bright white background and a dark subject like that, you'd probably want to add some exposure compensation, because it's better to properly expose your subject and blow out the background than
Well,
vice versa.
yeah, here the background is exposed properly, but that's not really beautiful. So you want to, I'd say, expose this properly.
Yeah, it'd be better to add a couple of stops of exposure compensation when you were
Yeah.
taking the picture. Just knowing white background, dark subject means add exposure compensation. Check chapter 4. There's a video
Yeah,
in there too.
we have a video too. Yep.
Other than that, I think a tighter crop would help. There's a lot of space below the butterfly.
Let me unlock it. We'll make it square-ish. As square as my eye can do.
It looks nice and sharp. Yeah, looks very sharp.
Yeah. It's getting unnatural if you raise it too much. It's just
Yeah.
something that you have to get in camera. It's not going to look very good if you fix it in post. But yeah, nice shot. That's all the pictures. Great pictures this week.
And if you didn't see your picture for some reason, it just meant that there's a problem with our system. Some pictures just get lost. So please, I apologize, and re-upload it and we'll cover it next week. And if you do continue to have a problem, you can email it to tony@northrop.org. Thanks. Thanks so much. Again, if you want to submit pictures, buy either Stunning Digital Photography or our Blu-ray or DVD sets. You can get all of those on Amazon or at sdpcommunity.com. Then you can submit your pictures at sdpcommunity.com after you register. Thanks, and we will see you soon, hopefully next week.
Do you like my shirt?